Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone World Championship 2019 is about to begin in just a few hours, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the metagame of the tournament a little bit and showcase a few of the more interesting decks that are also ready to take on the ladder if you so desire. This image shows the meta of the tournament. It is from Shanghai on Twitter. I didn't make my own graphics this time because others beat me to it, but it's okay, we can use theirs and talk about what is going on here. The tournament itself, there are 16 players, and the players are divided into 4 groups of 4 players. Each of the groups plays a double elimination tournament, and 2 players from each group proceed to the top 8, and top 8 will be a single elimination bracket all the way to the finals. And overall the metagame, as you can see here, 16 players, 15 of them have brought Rogue. The only one who has not brought Rogue is Roger, who has a very heavy anti-control lineup. Roger is trying to counter warriors very heavily, and there are lots of warriors for him to counter, so that might pay off. But other than that, name of the game is Rogue. 12 Lucky Rogues, 3 Miracle Rogues, a rather surprising pick perhaps, considering how Lucky Rogue is so very difficult to target. The second most popular class in the tournament is Warrior, 8 Control Warriors, 5 Bomb Warriors. And perhaps a bit surprisingly, the third most popular class in this tournament is Warlock, and of the 11 Warlocks, every single one of them is a 2 Warlock. I'm not a huge fan of the 2 Warlock list that we're seeing in this tournament. They are good, they are built for this specific tournament, but they are not very suitable for ladder because many of them assume, for example, a warrior ban, which means that you can build the deck a little bit different when you can completely ignore that matchup. And that's always the thing when you're evaluating lists from this kind of a conquest, best of 5 ban 1 tournament. Every player has a ban plan, and they can just completely ignore one of the classes when they're building the decks for this, so the decks tend to be somewhat unbalanced for ladder play. Although the absolute strongest classes tend to be very similar, even in such an environment, because they are just overall extremely well performing decks. The fourth most popular class is a bit of a surprise too, it's Hunter. 7 midrange hunters, 1 mech hunter. Mech Hunter is in Roger's lineup, and that is targeting Warrior, so yeah, Mech Hunter obliterates Warrior, great choice for that one. But then there are 7 midrange hunters, and midrange hunter has not been a big star on ladder. But once again we're seeing the effect that you can ban away one class. So in that kind of situation you're able to make other classes work in different ways than you can in ladder environment. There are 7 mages here, all of them are Conjurer mages, 6 shamans, 5 control shamans and 1 token shaman. And that's another something that you don't really see on ladder that much. There are not that many control shamans on ladder. But here some people are just looking to counter these more aggressive strategies. Control shaman can be extremely strong against aggressive decks, and therefore it can justify a position in a lineup like this. There are also 2 token druids, 1 mech paladin, again in Roger's lineup, targeting that warrior, and 1 miracle priest brought by Killing All Day. Overall, it's nice to see that every single class is represented in the tournament, but when you look at the lists really, you can clearly see that this tournament is very early in the meta. Some of these lists are still unrefined. There are lots of choices that these players probably would not even bring exactly like this if they were to make the decks anew today, because we already have multiple days of more experience of this expansion and the metagame. But of course, there's been a ton of work going on in these decks, and these decks do represent some of the best level deck building available in the game right now. Let's go take a look at a couple of the more interesting builds also for ladder play. There are plenty of Lucky Rogues in this tournament, and well, it's the most popular archetype. This is the one that I like the best, especially if thinking ladder in mind. XiaoT's Lucky Rogue. It's actually almost the same as the Lucky Rogue that I played recently and made a deck guide of, but this one is running Heist Baron Dogwaggle as the top end, so a little bit more power against something like Warrior, while not going all in with the Know Me plan. Lucky Rogue, well, what can you say? It is the best deck. It is the deck to beat right now. Just A collection of extremely solid cards. Raiding Party, especially Prep Raiding Party, giving you an immense swing turn. Equip Waggle Pick, make your Dread Corsairs cost 0. Swing with the pick, buff up the pick, swing with the pick again. Dread Corsairs can do things. Just crazy stuff happens when this deck is seeing play. Henge Clan Tug for insurance. If you don't find any other good stuff, you can always just go with the old Dagger Up on 2 and Henge Clan Tug on 3 plan. Other than that, you have Miscreants creating you lackeys. There's a bunch of 0 mana stuff in this deck, so it even enables some huge Edwin plays very early in the game. Just hitting a lot of face. Leroy Jenkins finisher, Myra's Unstable Element to draw the rest of the deck. Find more stuff, find your saps, find your eviscerates, find chargers, find reach, kill people. That deck is just a steamroller. There are several control Shaman decks in this tournament. Many of them are built around the Thunderhead package, which holds some promise. Hunterace has went for something a little bit different, and I really like the look of this deck. Just getting such immense Shadowrock value from this one, with Mind Control techs and Omega Defenders and Giggling Inventors. All Hakata package. This one never grows old. The Swamp Queen Hakata and Hakata the Witch, Walking Fountains to heal. Bunch of card draw, Pyromancers to help you deal with token boards. Then there's Hexes, Urchok. Just a really fun looking control Shaman build. I can't wait to see this in action. There are several mid-range hunter decks in the tournament, and this XiaoT's list really caught my eye. Many of the builds now are using Vicious Scalehide and Dire Frenzy, so they add up a little bit of healing to Midrange Hunter. Midrange Hunter traditionally has not had a lot of healing, and then if you go into a race situation and you might end up losing that, then that feels bad. But with the Scalehide, you can Dire Frenzy the Scalehide, and that will shuffle more Scalehides into your deck. You can Master Skull some of them out of the deck. Just gives you a way to actually heal in the game. And this build also incorporates one copy of Witchwood Grizzly, so it has a little bit more defense against aggro decks, as well as running 2 copies of Unleash the Hounds. There's even one marked shot that can discover some new spells, remove some 4 health minions. A really fun looking mid-range hunter list, this one. I have really enjoyed playing Conjurer Mage in the new expansion. There's a guide video of Conjurer Mage on this channel, and Conjurer Mage keeps evolving as well. And Languagehacker's Conjurer Mage is one that I really enjoy. This uses Rabble Bouncer. I'm not sure who came up with the idea. Originally it came up fairly quickly after the first few days. But just Rabble Bouncer, if you face tokens, slap a 2/7 taunt on the board for free or almost for free. Great defensive tool for the archetype. This is a fairly anti-token build otherwise too, because it's running double Scorchers, it's running double Mind Control techs, it's even running Mossy Horror. Very fun looking variant of Conjurer Mage. And of course it runs the most powerful Conjurer Mage things. The Book of Spectres, Twilight Drake, Mountain Giant is the Holy Trinity. You draw a lot of cards, you can play big Twilight Drakes, you can play early Mountain Giants. And then you have the Conjurer's Calling and Khadgar, especially for that Mountain Giant, so that you can turn it into multiple Mountain Giants and Grave Horrors. This particular build omits Power of Creation altogether, and I do have to wonder maybe that is the direction this deck should be taken. Because there's been a lot of experimentation around Power of Creation, the 8 mana spell. There have been 0 copies lists, 1 copy lists, 2 copy lists. It's still looking for its position, but Conjurer's Calling is the spell that really makes the deck, together with that Book of Spectres, Twilight Drake, Mountain Giant. So Power of Creation was never core to the same extent. Finally, Jing is bringing a Token Druid that looks like something that I would like Token Druid to look like. No fuzzing around with any kind of heal synergies, just do pure good stuff. Trust in the Whispering Woods, trust in the Forest's aid. Really fun looking list. I'm a little bit unconvinced about the Starfall. It's clearly a little bit of anti-token teching going on here as well, but it will be really interesting to see this one in action and see whether that Starfall is going to help it perform. I chose to showcase these 5 lists because these 5 lists look like they would be fun. They look like they are pretty refined versions of their archetypes. They are clearly above the first day versions of these archetypes that saw play. And these lists are ones that I think you can also take to the ladder and do well with, because many of the others, like the Zulok builds typically in this tournament, the Zulok builds in this tournament are clearly tournament versions, they are not ladder versions. These are interesting looking decks, I can't wait to see them being played in the tournament, and these are also ones that I believe can be taken to the ladder. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.